Hello, people. It is Saturday today for me. I am here with your weekly LCM Read series video. Excuse my tardiness. Our family is getting ready for a big move, and we have been really overwhelmed. But I will say that my book has been helpful. All of the things that we've talked about have been coming in handy, and it has really tested my mental strength. So yeah, please bear with me as we finish our LCM Read series for 13 things mentally strong people don't do. We are on chapter 10, and we will be talking about failure today, because failure is something that is inevitable, and not everyone is comfortable with failing. So I really wanted to bring that up as a topic today, as that is chapter 10. For those of you who don't know, I have been reviewing a chapter a week from this book called 13 Things Mentally Strong People Don't Do by Amy Moran. So if you want to go back and look at the previous videos, there are some really awesome topics. Like I mentioned previously, a lot of these topics are intertwined. However, they will tie really well together. And if you can pinpoint where your needs are, then you will be better to help yourself and get the information you need out of these videos. Also, if you have any suggestions for our next series, a book that you wanted to be reviewed, for those of you who can't read as much as you would like to or haven't made that commitment yet, let me know what's a good book that you want to discuss or talk about, and I will go ahead and read it. If you let me know in advance, I will read it, because there are a lot of books that I may not know about. So you guys probably have some really awesome ideas of good books to read and review. So I would really love that. And I will give you my honest feedback on the book. Yeah, so let's talk about failure. Let's talk about failure. Because if you haven't failed at something, then that means you haven't been taking risks, calculated risks. I think go back to chapter 6. But yes, taking calculated risks sometimes leads to failure, which you've calculated that. So definitely think about the times that you failed and what did you get out of it? How did it make you feel? Do you worry about being perceived as a failure by other people? Do you believe that the most successful people were born with natural talent? And is much of your self-worth linked to your ability to succeed? Remember, success is defined by you. So even a failure could equal to success. The thought of failing feels very unsettling. Is that you? Because if so, then that's something you should think about. Because failing is not something that any of us want to deal with. However, it's necessary sometimes. And we often give up a project or give up a mission because the fear of failure. But when you give in to failure and the fear of it, and even if you failed, that doesn't mean that it's over. Failing something doesn't mean that it's over. It just means that you now have an experience that you can take from and learn from, just to get back up and try again. Because that's what it's all about, is getting up and getting up and getting up and trying again. So the problem with giving into failure is that you will never reach the potential that you have, and you will never get to where you want to be. The main thing is not to give up. Don't give up. It doesn't matter how many failures you have, you cannot give up. So that means you have to identify the problems in your failure. Like, what does your belief system tell you, and what prevents you from trying again? So deliberate practice is more important than natural talent. You will have to put in a lot of work and effort sometimes to gain a skill that you didn't have previously. So that naturally requires failure. Here's a great example. My daughter is working on riding her bike without training wheels. I observed her the other day, and she seems to have, some basic skills to it. However, she was quick to give up and said that she was not able to do it. And she failed. Because she failed on her first try, she was discouraged from getting back on the bike and continuing to try. So I sat down and I pretty much had the same talk with her. I explained to her that if she doesn't continue to try, she will never be able to ride her bike. And also her mentality was the issue, because she expected herself to jump up on the bike and boom, she can ride it. And when she realized it wasn't going to be like that, she felt discouraged because she doesn't like failure. This is from a kid's perspective. However, we as adults have these same mentalities still to this day. So it's important that we identify that and figure out, is that me? Do I feel discouraged after failing? And if so, why? Because it's a normal thing that you have to practice something to get good at it. There's going to be failure. And oftentimes when we fail, it does take a shot at your self-esteem or your confidence due to your mentality. So really understanding that failure is a part of the process will help you navigate those situations and make you feel content with that, if that makes sense. Attributing failure to a lack of ability leads to learned helplessness. So if you tell yourself that you keep failing because you suck, then you will start feeling helpless for yourself, and as if like, well, I can't do it. I keep trying and I can't do it, so it is what it is. That's not going to help you. That is not going to help you. So what you need to do is change your mentality. Change the way you think about failure and understand that certain thoughts are not going to serve you in a situation. Don't tell yourself that failure is not an option. I know this is a saying that we've been given from elementary school on up. Failure is not an option. But if you really think about that, it doesn't make sense. Because failure sometimes is the only option to get to success. You have to fail in order to succeed. That's just a part of the journey. So thinking that failure, what they mean by that is the bigger picture, that the ultimate goal is not to be failure. But understand that there will be failure intermixed with the success journey. So really analyze the thoughts that you're having about failure and what failure means to you and how does it tie back into the bigger picture. You might feel that people will judge you for failing something. Guess what? Those people are probably inspired by you because you got up and tried it. Yes, you might have failed that moment, but you did it. You did more than they did. So don't have that preconceived notion about people because they're probably learning from your mistakes, which is a blessing in itself. And this goes just back to your self-thoughts and your, however you look at yourself, your self-concept on how you navigate those failures. So that's always what it has to go back to. And some of those previous videos can help you address those things as well. The main thing is that you have to face your fear of failure. If you're fearing to fail, you need to face it and really address why are you so scared of failure, and then tackle it, as we've been saying all along. And then after you fail, you've got to get up and move forward. Take your moment, take the lessons out of the failure, but get up and move forward. And everybody that has success, because that's defined by the person that's successful, will probably have a story about a failing moment and how they bounced back. So if you really want something, this will be a part of the journey. Embrace, embrace, embrace failure. And honestly, that's all it is to it. I feel like I'm repeating myself and, I don't want to be redundant. I want you guys to get the points and keep it moving. Ask for help if you need any help getting things clarified. Share your story for others to understand that failure can be a good thing, depending on how you look at it. I would really love to hear some of your stories. Let me see if I can think of something. I think one of my biggest points of failure, I guess, was when I failed a really important exam to get my behavior analyst certification. I was not used to failing, and when that happened, it really messed me up for a minute. I bounced back fairly quickly, but it definitely put things in perspective for me that sometimes you're going to fail. It was like a wake-up call, and it made me like reanalyze life, because that one little instance reminded me that you're not all of that. You can fail at any given time. It's not really your call. So when that happened, because I'm not gonna lie, I was cocky walking into that test like, I got it. I always had good grades. And when I failed that test, that humbled me very quick. I was kind of devastated when I first found out. I was crying, and because it was a big thing, and it was my career, so it made me feel, for a moment, it made me feel inadequate, like I wasn't good enough, especially coming from a history of always passing tests and da-da-da-da-da. So when I failed, I was just really like taken aback, and it didn't feel good. So I could have wallowed in that, and I could have let that define my next move as far as not attempting to take it again. But after a day or two of wallowing, I, picked back up the pieces, and I tried to go a little bit harder. And the next time I took it, I did pass. Now, this is a minor story. I'm sure I have other failure stories to tell, but that's just what came in my head just now. I'm just sharing because I think personal stories help people relate to you in different aspects and ways. And I think that we should all share a piece of us for the world, because that's what's going to help us, resonate with each other and bring each other together as humanity should come together. And we should all be learning from each other. That's why I do what I'm doing, because I want people to work together for common goals. We may not have the same goal, but we are human, and we do experience these same things. This book has been talking about all of the things that every human goes through. Every human. All around the world. And that's what is so amazing to me, that it doesn't matter what's on your goal list. It matters how you're getting there, and it matters on your mentality. So as long as you can get a hold of that, everything else is already done. It's already done. So please convey these messages to your friends and peers and share your stories. I know I've been stressing that a lot, but it helps me. I watch a lot of people, and I follow a lot of people, and it helps me keep going. And I hope that I can help others keep going. And I hope that it just can continue that way, because that's what needs to happen. So really, think about yourself in relation to the bigger picture in this world and your role here. And I don't care if you work at McDonald's or if you're a multi-million-dollar person. These concepts remain the same. And that's something that we need to understand, that we are all connected, right? Yeah, I think that wraps up our week 10 video. I would love to have suggestions on what we can do next, because this has 3 more weeks left. And after that, I will look into what other books you guys are interested in, or topics that you guys would like to discuss. I've been enjoying making these videos. It's been somewhat of a, I can't think of a good word. I guess it's a form of expression, somewhat of art. I feel like it's cool that I could just get up here and talk to people the way I would like to. And it just kind of makes me feel good about life sometimes to just let it out. So thank you guys for following and listening. Share my story. As I hope you were sharing yours with me. So yeah, I'm going to log off and I will see you guys next week. Have a blessed weekend and we shall see each other soon. I'll see you, baby.